Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Holly of Holly's Hobbies, crafts, but mainly my channel these days is dealing with tarot readings, charm readings, oracle readings, things like that. I've been doing a few videos to showcase some of my things that I have been. Trying to get my camera situated here. But things that I've been gathering to begin doing my readings. Okay, so I've been doing some videos kind of trying to show the tools that I'm going to be using. Now, let me first say, I have studied the occult. I have studied different religions, different backgrounds. I identify as Christian. I will always identify as Christian. Raised in a Baptist church here in Kentucky. Ultimately, I believe in God. I believe in the higher power. I believe in angels. I believe in the Holy Spirit, things like that. But I've had experiences over the years. I'm a cancer survivor. I was 15 months old when I was diagnosed with acute myelocytic leukemia. And I was a very, very sick little child. I think there was a few times that I had a pretty close brush with death and the other side myself. So I have always kind of had this interest in the paranormal, spirituality, um, basically the paranormal. Like, I have always been able to sense energies and things like that. I kind of have a psychic knowing. I don't claim to be psychic and actually be able to predict the future. However, I do have a lot of intuition and things like that. And I have a lot of personal experiences that kind of support those things. So when I do readings or anything like that, it's always coming from that place of good. It's always coming from what I feel like is like godly, is from the angels, from the universe. Yes, my shirt has weaponry on it. I apologize. It's a band shirt. I listen to a lot of different music. Music is one of the things that I connect with. So just kind of putting that out there. I I'm comfortable in what I'm comfortable in. So like when I do readings, I try to deliver a positive message. Even with negative readings, there is usually a positive. There's the yin and the yang. I practice Tai Chi and also Kung Fu. I'm a blue belt in Kung Fu. Nothing evil about either of those things. Tai Chi works with energy. It's an internal form of martial arts. It's a very closer to yoga, but it there is a balance, but there's also that release and that working with energy and stuff like that. It does very much kind of release some of the negativity that just collects through the work that I do. I'm a mental health therapist, so I am educated. Almost have a doctorate. I mean, I'm highly educated as far as that stuff goes. And in my chosen field, like I said, I'm a mental health therapist, a counselor. I work with addiction is one of the primary things that I do where I work at. So I do a lot of addiction counseling, and with that, there is a lot of negativity. There is a lot of feeling depressed, feeling guilty, feeling um, restricted, oppressed, feeling less than, things like that. And, I feel like a lot of that stuff comes from our own demons. And I say demons, not necessarily like Lucifer devil type thing, but like the demons that we battle. Maybe these are self-inflicted, maybe they are, a paranormal type being that oppresses us. But I do feel like there are a lot of things that we have to work through and process. And sometimes these tools can help us do that. Um, so I will say that all of my readings and stuff come from a place of love and light, and from a place of there's a higher power, there's a higher being, there's some kind of spiritual connection out there that's bigger than us. Okay. And so, yes, we have free will to affect anything. So, these readings are not to say that you can't change things in the future, or not to say that you can't make your life what you want it to be. But sometimes we need a little bit of help gaining that confidence to live in our truth. And that's ultimately what I want this channel to be for people, is a place where you can be authentically you. You can live in your authentic self. You can express yourself authentically. To me, I'm not here to judge. I'm kind of putting myself out there as this person who I seek to understand. I want to hear other people's stories. I want to interact with my followers and to have that connection with them. But I also want to provide clarity where I can with readings, and to be a support if I can at all. So with that being said, I've done some videos already that have kind of went over some of my my tarot decks, just a few of them. I will go through more here in a second. But some of my stones and things like that I use. So the first thing that I want to go over is my bags, and some of the things that are in my bags. So I'm just going to start with stuff that I've already kind of shown. I ordered this through either Shein or Temu, and it says Moon and Cat. I love animals. And I did have a black cat named Trouble. He passed away, but he was like 16. So the black cat, the moon, the sun. I've always been interested in like space travel, aliens, that type of thing. Star Trek TNG was one of my favorite shows, so The Next Generation. Love stuff like that. So there's kind of that space connection, the moon, and the black cats. So just to quickly talk about some of the things that I've already kind of went over. This is one of my other pouches. It's snake skin on one side of it. It's got some pretty flowers and stuff, and this really pretty moth on this other side. It's just a zip pouch. It came with different birthstones. I chose the August one. August is my mother's birthday, but it was from Estee Lauder. But this one was just, I love neon green. It's one of my favorite colors. I love green. It's kind of that color of rebirth, spring, So to me, it's just a happy color, and that's kind of why I chose that. I just like its energy. So there's that. But let me talk about some of these stones. This is one of my absolute favorites. I showcased it in another video talking about like the actual names and everything. I just want to show the beauty of this. Here's another one that I really love what it looks, how it looks. These are kind of heavy, so there's that. I've got these other small pouches. See, that one's got that moth on it. And the stones that are in here, and these will go back in my other pouch here. So you got this one. You've got this one. And most of these stones I've either picked up at stores that I've went into physically, one being in the Lexington Mall in Kentucky, one being the Black Cat, which is down in Oneida, Tennessee, which is about 20 minutes from where I live, 20 to 25 minutes. The other stuff I have ordered through like Temu, Shein, Amazon for some of the things. And then, we go into Five Below a lot. Like there's one in London, and I think there's actually one now in Monticello, Kentucky, which is close to. So like within an hour's drive of my house, there's a couple of those places. And if I see stuff, I will grab stuff that resonates with me. This I think I ordered off Temu. It's a little cat. I just thought it was cute. Like I said, I connect with nature. I love animals. This one's a wolf, but yeah. So yeah, I love kind of like the nature-based things. I'm a very peace-loving person. I tend to not want to rock the boat too much. This is another pouch from that same store that I got those other stones from in Lexington. And again, I'm just showing some of these just for a really good second look at them, because I know that I showed them off before. And there's other videos, so if you want to look at those, just look back through some of the videos on the channel. These will be older videos that I've done. And that's where I kind of went into more detail about what the stones are supposed to represent, what the energies behind them are, stuff like that. And these are going to be the last of the stones. This is just a little bag that I'm using to put them in inside the other bag. I just really love these stones and how they feel in my hand. Like, every stone that I pick up, I feel like I have a personal connection with. I either like the look of it, and that's why I'm drawn to it. The energy of it just connects me with it. Or I am, I connect with them. So like, I do try to find ones, if I order them online, obviously it's ones that I'm not getting to hold in my hand physically, and examine. So those are a little bit less personalized to my energy and to me. But now some of them, if I've picked them up in person, I've held different ones in my hands, and the ones that I've taken home have been the ones that I connected the most with. So, that being said, that's kind of my selection process for some of these things, is just what feels the most connected to me as far as energy goes. And I can't really explain that. It's just kind of one of those things that, something just draws me to it. Another thing that, like, I get various sizes of these, and I get them in raw form or I get them in polished form. I have more in the polished form just because I think the stores like to sell the polished forms better. I don't know if it's because they're not as jagged and maybe they are shinier and prettier to a lot of people, that connects more. Like, people tend to buy more of those. But I like both forms. And like I said, I tend to go for just whatever the energy is that connects me to it. So, yeah. Couple more. Last one. And it's just a clear quartz. Okay. So, those are my stones. If any of those stones really called to you, I'd like to hear about it in the comments. If you want to share, if you want to tell me anything about, like, your connection with things like that, how you feel about my channel so far, how you feel about any of this. I am that person who's just kind of seeking to connect with people and seeking to explain a few things. Now, something else that I would like to share is, okay, since my dad passed, I have really been trying to forge connections with my guides, my I guess the Holy Spirit, whatever I can actually connect with that can send me signs or anything like that, my dad is proud of me, or any message, anything like that. And it's not just my dad. Like, obviously I've lost my grandma, I've lost other loved ones and family members and stuff that I do want signs and things from. But I was always a daddy's girl, and I think that sometimes I just miss that connection. But my dad was also a person who loved nature. He was a farmer. He he was a zoologist, so he had a background in nature. And I just want to show you some things here. I started just kind of trying to connect with, like I said, that nature type thing. Now, I love peacocks, so I love peacock feathers and stuff like that. And I love Highland cows. Highland cows are like my favorite animal in the world. And we now have ducks. So there's something, though, about birds. I know that there's this tradition that like a cardinal is a loved one, that's passed on, blah, blah, blah. I do not believe that loved ones are reincarnated as birds. But I do believe that maybe they can utilize them as messengers or as signs to show you that they're okay. After Dad passed, there was this big fat red male cardinal that came to the cabin where my dad had built on his farm, where my mother still lives. And this cardinal just kind of hung out. It would hang out, watch us, stuff like that. My kids didn't scare it off, which my son is wild. He's loud. The bird didn't seem to be too bothered by my son, which was kind of weird. But I mean, eventually it did fly off, like, birds tend to do, but it's came back a few times. And now, every time I go outside, or like we were sitting in Ohio, and I want to say that it was this feather, maybe the one that's in my car. I have one in my car. I think it's the one that's in my car. But it was a small gray feather, and just was there. My son brought it over to me. Hey, Mom, here's a feather. And I was like, okay. The thing is, ever since then, and we're sitting in Ohio at my husband's family's house in Ohio, and ever since then, feathers have kind of been showing up for me. My son, who is outside more than I am, obviously, right now, he tends to bring them to me. Mom, I found you some feathers today. Mom, I found you this feather. Mom, I found a feather. So I'm kind of collecting them and keeping note of what we're finding. So, like, there's this one. And some of them look a little scraggly. Like, this one looks like it's been through the ringer just a little bit. But there's that one. This one is a good size one. I think this is like a wild turkey feather, if I had to guess. It's a pretty good size feather. So there's that one. A few more. So there's this small one, and it's got some blue on it. I think it's a blue jay feather. It was found in our front yard, and we got a bunch of cats and stuff around here, so I'm not going to say that the cats couldn't have, like, jumped a blue jay, because that does happen. But this showed up. And then yesterday, I came home from work. My husband has been out for a couple of days due to his work, so he's not been home. And my mom said, Alan found you some feathers. And I thought, okay, there's these. There's 3 of them. So, again, 3, Trinity. I believe in symbolism. And these are goose feathers, so Canadian geese feathers. And we have a family of Canadian geese that hang out at the farm. There's like 5 of them, 3 that are like babies, or like, I guess at this point they're kind of teenagers. And then the mom and dad. And the mom and dad come back every year, hatch new eggs, so they have new babies every year. Funny thing about geese is they mate for life. So if something happens to mama or daddy goose, they won't have another partner. I don't know. These geese they've been here for years. They come every year, though. They have their babies and then they leave. Sometimes they'll bring the babies back after the babies are a little bit bigger. Now all 3 of the babies that have survived out of the 6 that were original are flying. But they are not as big as mom and dad. So we know that they're the younger ones, but they are all flying now. So they are traveling more. And here, these are feathers from them. So, I take feathers as signs, of visits or of messages from our passed on loved ones, or, from just spirit. Get me a drink. Okay, so that was my son coming in. I apologize. He was thirsty. He's been outside running around playing. However, I'm going to stop this video now, and I will pick up with another video going over my tarot cards and a few other things. So, I hope to see you in another video. If you like this, give me a like and a follow, subscribe, do all the things. Share the videos if you wish. Like I said, I just wanted to give some clarification, though, where I was coming from on things. I in no way endorse witchcraft, anything negative, anything like that. I am simply having fun, and just trying to give some positive messages and some encouragement out there. So that's all I'm here for. I like to share my crafts and things that I make too. Just a quick note about that. I do make soaps, natural, lip balm, natural. I make car freshies. Those are not natural. I make some resin products. It just depends on what I'm feeling at the moment. And I do try to do some like decoupage and some stuff like that. So I have gotten into some other crafting things here and there, and I may share some videos about that, or I may share some of my products as I get some things made. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there too. If you have any questions, or there's something you'd like for me to try, or something that you'd like for me to make, or something that you'd like to just have questions about and want my take on it, please share it. You can email me at my normal email address, holly.lockhart1128 at gmail.com, or just post in the comments and I'm happy to respond.